So today I'm going to share with you how to create these elicits, and they're very simple. I'll be honest, they're not hard. But I want to take you through some of the components of the creative process, why I do the way I do, and also through the classroom process on how that actually looks in the classroom. So the first thing is looking at the format of the design here. We have a couple main components. So we do have some of the symbology up here to denote the gender, the grammatical gender of the item. We also have the part of speech that it could be. And then we have some sort of picture in the middle. And then, of course, we have a label down below. Now, the label down below doesn't necessarily have to be super tiny, but I do put it there just so that we use it here a little bit later on. So with all these symbols in place, what I like to do is I like to go take my list of whatever vocabulary words that I have, and then I like to take that list and kind of categorize it with the grammatical gender, part of speech. I find some image there. Now, the images that you want to be looking for is images that are simple. Okay, if you're like me and can't print color on everything, then yeah, you might not want to go with something complicated. There we go, bells. You're going to take simple pictures. And the reason is because you can do some stuff artistically with them. Sometimes you can have students go back over with fancy markers, or you can have, a day where kids just, color the elicits just so they have a little bit of buy-in to it. So I personally prefer outlines over like photographs. Like if I were to go to a photograph, there's some in here that are completely adorable. But if your printer is not like amazing, like it might be a little bit tricky to do something like this with the cat with the sunglasses. It might be a little bit tricky to do that, or this one right here. You wouldn't be able to tell particularly what that is. I mean, you can, but you know what I mean. So stick with simple so that you can share it and utilize this in another way. Having students color really helps with the buy-in. Okay, so once you have your design set up, then you're going to go ahead and tell students at the beginning of class, hey guys, here's our vocabulary for this today. What we're going to do, you're going to write down this list. So then you give them a couple minutes to write them down. I also make sure that they take care to write the date in the correct way. Just because if you don't write the dates, it can be a little bit confusing. And if you ever do notebook checks, it's really hard to go back in and find out what it is that, where the student's work is. And I will say too, there's a lot of students who don't know how to like write from one page to the next. So you kind of got to let them know, hey, you put the date on it so I can find your work. So with the vocabulary here, once they have written it down, then what you're going to do in the second step is you're going to explain to them, hey guys, we're going to go ahead, we're going to practice pronunciation. I want you to be able to say these words correctly, so we're going to go ahead and go through that. So you start out, das Märchen, das Märchen, das Märchen, das Märchen, or der Mausekönig, der Mausekönig, der Mausekönig, der Mausekönig. You do it usually 2, maybe 3 times. It depends on how many you have. But your goal is while you're having them repeat, correct some of the pronunciation then, and it might warrant like I underline some diphthongs, and I'm like, okay, is AU, maybe some kids were pronouncing it a different way, or die Pupa, the U on that is like ooh, and then you get the giggles out because they think they're saying poop, but they're not. You're saying pupa like puppet, and they get it after that. So once you have all of this, you've gone through the pronunciation. Then what we're going to do is help students identify the parts of speech. Now, in German, we have this and it's very simple. So I look at them and I say, hey, what are the nouns? And they're like, oh, it's the one with the der, die, and das. Okay. And you have the students highlight as well. So here I have highlighted a couple of them, and berühmt is an adjective and erzählen is a verb. Now, it doesn't matter what colors they are. No. Can they stay the same? Yeah. I think I've probably used so many different color combinations that like right now I'm like, I don't know. As long as they're different, the reason is you want them to have 3 different categories of words to identify what word is this. because you're not going to tell them. You're going to have them tell you. And I think that's an important aspect of this. So the next thing that we do, once we have identified all of these, then we're going to go ahead and I am going to show them this image right here. Okay, we'll do the mouse king here. And we notice up here at the top, and well, I tell the students, okay, guys, which word do you think this is? You guys got to tell me which one it is. And they're going to look here at the male symbol, and they're going to see this. And he looks kind of like a king or something. Maybe they know that, maybe they don't. And well, they look up here. There's only der Mausekönig. Okay, so what that means is if they guess Mausekönig, you're like, great, that's it, that's correct. And then you show them der Mausekönig. Okay, same thing with das Märchen. Okay, they see the das, and then they see a book, and you're like, oh, what is that? And then they just guess. And I tell them, just be okay with guessing. So they say, is it das Spielzeug? No. Is it das Märchen? Yeah, it's das Märchen. Oh, wait, what do you think this is? It's in a book, and there's a castle. What is it? That's right, it's a fairy tale. Good job. Now, as you go through it, you can also use other ways, but I usually try to describe it if it's like this one right here, berühmt, which means famous. I sometimes, I know I had trouble on this one because I was trying to explain to them what it was, and just looking at the picture, they were like, is it like a concert? Is it singing? Is it like whatever? They guessed berühmt, but they didn't guess what it meant. So I had to be like, well, that guy right there, he's like, I don't know, Taylor Swift or something. Oh, maybe he's famous. And they're like, okay, yeah. So what that does, though, is it kind of takes them trying to figure out those words. Again, you're not telling them. I like to describe my pictures when they're a little bit tricky. So once we've gone through that and they have identified what all of these words are, of course, I have them right off to the side what the translations are. And then the second thing I do is I go back through and I say, go ahead and keep looking at your books. And then what we're going to do is we're going to show you the picture again, and we're just going to do that same series over again. And they're going to see the Mouse King, and they'll say the Mouse King, they'll see the fairy tale, and say das Märchen. And then once we're done with that, now I have a DocuChem. Some teachers have DocuChems, some don't. And so what I do next is kind of tricky. Let's see if I can replicate it to an extent here. So what I do is I show them the word, and I say, okay, now I'm going to say the word. And what I want you to do is tell me what the word is in English. And so I'll say das Märchen, and they're like, oh, it's fairy tale. And then I'll show them berühmt. And they're like, oh, it's famous or popular. Or then I show them this one, and I say erzählen. I only show them the word, and then we go back into English. So they're making kind of a stronger connection between them. But that's basically it. The eliciting has eliminated for the majority part my need to have to review everything. But one thing I do as well is after it. So let's say today we do the introduction of vocabulary. We have to review them again the next day, and then I tell them, yeah, you can use your notebook as long as you need it, but slowly try and take the notebook away. And so they'll just go back through it, same process. I show them the picture with the clue. And then once they say it, then we move on. And then after we've gone through that, then we go through just showing them the German word, and they're going to connect it to the English. Now, if you keep reviewing the same ones over and over and over again, it really gets solidified into their brain. I've seen a lot of great vocabulary retention on this. And especially if you're reading a text where these things are embedded, which a lot of these ones were. This was in the Nutcracker story. Then we previewed these vocabularies before we went into the actual chapter. So when we did that, it really helped them to understand when we got to those words, they already had an idea. And I just did it the day before we read it, and it worked, and we reviewed. Sometimes there's also vocabulary things, but that also makes it so that you have something physical. If a student is done, you can say, hey, read these or practice these with your partner, or you could say, hey, can you color them or outline them? That's also very helpful. So I hope this video was helpful in showing you how to do eliciting. And remember, your goal is to have them tell you what that word is. So your goal is also to help promote proper pronunciation and to kind of show them how the language works, but they are going to tell you what the translation is. All right. You have a great day.